What is going on, everybody? We are here for our first ever interview on Predict It, the content, focus, and all things entertainment around prediction markets. And we have one of, if not the number one guest I wanted to get on this, the number one mentioned market trader, 0xTyrael. Tyrael, my friend, how are we doing?
Good, man. How you doing, Easy?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. It's been a chaotic journey for me. We're publicly documenting everything. Went on Thread Guy stream, got brought up. I was down like 15K, and I was like, "Here's the deal. We're gonna make it all back before the end of the year." And now we're documenting the whole journey. We're trading a whole mess of stuff, up and down markets, sports. We got to take some aggressive swings, which some people think is outlandish. Zootopia 2 actually rinsed me after
Oh
some great
man.
research, and a market that showed it was supposed to go under got readjusted higher. So it's been I'm not gonna lie, I'm having fun despite being down an astronomical amount of cash. But the markets are enjoyable. How is everything with you as the number one mentioned market trader on the
Good,
leaderboards?
good, man. It's been a crazy couple months. Call she's just been really going hard on the mention market side, and I've been diving in and just locked in like crazy, trying to trade as many of them as possible. I've got a day where I'm starting with like Trump in the morning. I'm doing Anderson Cooper in the afternoon. Then I've got Rachel Maddow after, and then I'm like wrapping it up with late night TV, Stephen Colbert. It's just like I'm getting the full gambit of exposure to media types. So yeah, man, it's been a ton of fun. I've been loving watching you on the challenge. I think it's awesome and really educational for users, man. A lot of people think that, everybody steps into this day one and you're just like profitable and you're doing like great. I think the approach you're taking is showing people that, hey, you know what? Sometimes you got to like lose a little bit to learn how to win. And then you learn how to win and you can be massively profitable. Right. And I just think that's a really honest arc versus some of the like LARPing that sometimes you see
We
on
were talking
these.
about this before I pressed record. Some of the posts too that have been driving me crazy on X, and I don't want to focus too much on it, or like the accounts are like, this wallet's doing this. That was like the
Yeah.
number one engagement bait. And then two is the one that like you clearly haven't traded them. Like the bond market post yesterday where someone
Yes.
was like,
Yes.
these 95%, these are what bonds are. It wasn't a resolved market. We've seen 95s go to zero. That's not a
Yeah.
bond. Like we had talked briefly about it. I was like, I like the markets that get disputed at conclusion and drop a couple percent. That's a bond to me because
Yeah.
it's people just taking profit because they don't want to get hit, but it's pretty clear that it's going to still resolve to 100.
Yeah, 100%, man. And dispute markets are super interesting. A famous guy named Carr on Polymarket has built a ton of his bankroll being an excellent disputes in news trader. This guy has like a very uncanny ability to see a news event, be able to process it, and then swing trade based on whatever direction he feels is correct. And I very rarely see the guy like ever directionally like long on something where he's like holding it to resolution. A lot of times it's just really astute swing trades and being in on those kinds of things. So I think that stuff's super interesting, man. Really, really impressed with the way Carr is able to do that.
He's done an incredible job. I think he's up like 800K this year, which is nuts. Like, guy is just a monster with how he started. And it's been impressive to watch a lot of other guys just dominate some of these markets. Like Pred M Trader, I'm a huge fan of his
Yeah.
content, and he's a heavy mention market guy. Like you
Yeah.
and him always have some funny posts too about like basketball. I took dunk. Why would they say this? Like I love those posts. They're just funny. It's good. But I am kind of curious here, and I know a lot of the people want to know more about the mention markets because
Yeah.
those are fast resolution markets, and it's a big dynamic with prediction markets. There's, in my opinion, there's two sides of the barbell. There's people who trade really quick resolution markets, which is mention markets, sports, politics day of, etc. And then
Yeah.
there's long-tailed markets. So Fed rate cut decisions in 2026, announcement for new Fed chair, new next presidential nom, stuff like that. With the mention market stuff, I think the one thing most people want to ask and like understand is, one, do you think you can have an edge in these markets? And two, I guess, how so?
Yeah, yeah. So one, you could definitely have an edge in these markets. It's about putting in the research and having a good model of what you think a particular speaker will say. So the number one place to start is just understanding the rules of what you're betting on, right? A lot of people don't understand that really every time you're buying one of these things, you're entering into a contract with a counterparty. And if you don't fully understand the rules that you're, betting on, right, you're kind of cooked. So little things like understanding like what's the difference between an open compound word and a closed compound word, right? I've learned more about grammar trading mention markets than I did in, my entire school life, right? So I learned about like rhotic R's and closed and open compounds and all these, really interesting things that really matter. One of the most legendary mentions trades that I've ever seen was Foster. He's a great trader. He turned, I think it was like, it was a 1% trade. He made like 60K on one trade because he understood the difference between a closed compound word and an open compound word. When Caroline Levitt said the word taxpayer, right? He knew that would not count for tax. Bought really hard on the no. I got like the leftover scraps that Foster didn't get. I only got like a couple G's. I would say, like, I'm like, oh, poor me, right? But
Yeah,
like,
God forbid.
legendary trade there. So really just understanding the rules, and then being able to like model your speakers, right? So it's kind of, there's two elements to it. There's transcripts where you're researching and seeing what they've done in the past, and then there's the current context, right? So understanding like current events and what's happening in the world and how that may affect the transcript data, right? So like a great example was this morning I was trading Kroger's earnings mention call, right? And one of the strikes on there was tariff, right? And you would think, okay, tariffs have been like really in the news lately. Tariffs got to be talked about, right? You look at the transcript data, you see, okay, 3 out of the last 4 calls, they've said tariff. But you kind of think and you go, okay, tariff is this news is getting kind of old, right? We've been in the trade wars now. Trump's been in office for a year. Like the businesses have adjusted and digested this for the most part, right? So I slammed the no at 18 cents and hit that, right? So made like
That's
a really nice profit, and a little 5Xer on that. So just understanding where the conversation's going with current events, right? Pairing that with context. And that's how personally, like I have developed my edge.
No, see, and I like that. I think the context is the biggest thing. And I always see too, like vibes. That's how a lot of people trade it. It's like, what's the vibe? Because the vibe, like, you could have done all the research you wanted on the Thanksgiving speech from Trump. On average, they're 8 to 12 minutes. Like, I was an extensive researcher on it. I took no on B2 nuclear. I took no on like a bunch of words where it did not fit any of the previous context.
Yeah.
Sure enough, he goes on a 26-minute rant mentioning almost every word. I think it ended up settling like 80% of words were yeses. And some of the ones that were no's were ones that the yes was the heavy favorite on. Like he just went off the rails. And the vibe, you probably could have realized very quickly because some of his early sentiment was he's cracking jokes very quickly, mentioning the auto pen, going in and mentioning his tariff deals, the economy. And my thought was the economy at that moment was actually trending down. The S&P had pulled back. So I was like, he might shy away from it. Instead, he went on to basically say, like, we're up year over year, and went on this crazy tangent and this crazy rant. But I think the vibes is like a big part of it. But I guess too, you mentioned hitting a 5X this morning on the Kroger earnings call. What's like one of your big losses? I guess because a lot of people are curious about it.
Yeah, I mean, I've taken some dings. Just yesterday I was trading Trump's announcement about the reduction of EV emission standards, and like, so this is a good example of variance, right? So like, a lot of times when Trump is talking about the Green New Scam and he's talking about Joe Biden's failed energy policies, he loves to talk about how climate change is a hoax, right? He says, oh, the climate change hoax. And he gets into that whole line that I just talked about, right? So I had a big position on climate change. Yes. I thought it was super undervalued because it was trading in like the high 20s, low 30s. And I'm going like, this is highly correlated to the topic. This is clearly undervalued. I slammed the yes. CLV actually agreed with me. It went up the fucking 50 on yes pre-meeting, and then it didn't hit, right? Like, and like, that's just variance, dude. And I think I saved myself with some other trades on the market. So I ended up with like basically flat. I made like $3, but I took a fat L on the client change strike, and you're like, that's just variance. It happens, right? Like
you will lose. No matter how confident you are, you will lose.
100%, man. And it's just about like, one thing that I've learned over time trading these things is kind of like hedging things within a market. So like identifying that two things are highly correlated and then taking both sides of the correlation, right? So like let's say hoax and climate change are highly correlated, right? So like you could take a yes on one and a no on another, right? And if one hits, you're cool. It doesn't hit, you're good, right? Like there's just like little things that you can try to
It's also like
hedge
that's
out
the thing
on.
where because they all have to, like, essentially you want them to come out to $1, right? 100. So you could take the no and the yes, and if it's under 100, you can
Yep.
more or less ensure you have a locked in profit between the correlations. I haven't thought of it like that, but that's like one of the better ways I think you can trade mention markets, because you could lose on one, hit on the other, and still net profit, which is
Yeah.
great. It's like that's a very
It's
interesting way
going
to
to be
trade it.
really rare that you nail a market fucking 100% perfectly.
Oh, it's impossible. I'm sorry, it's impossible.
It's super hard, right? So like you have to just be like cognizant of that, play the percentages based on your models, right? Of what you set fair value at. And that's a big part of the process is understanding what you project the fair value of a strike to be, right? So like like nuclear, for example, back in that Trump pardon speech, maybe fair value is like 25, right? So like if you can say, oh, this is fair value 25, it's trading at 50 right now. Okay, that's overvalued. If it's trading at 10, it's undervalued. And don't trade things that are overvalued. Very simple. And trade things that are undervalued. And if you see something that's so egregiously overvalued, consider taking the other side. So like a great example of this for me is fumble on the mention market,
Yep.
the NFL markets. I'm a big fumble no guy.
Okay.
But if these fucking sickos bid up fumble to, 20 cents on no, you're forcing me to take yes, because it's now plus EV on the yes side. And I'll swing that back the other way and I'll take the numbers, right? It's really about
Yeah.
trading the lines more so than trading even the words, if that
Yep.
makes sense.
Oh, absolutely. It makes a ton of sense.
Yeah, so that's a really big factor of it. And one big part about vibes, you talked about like the Trump market, and I learned this goes back to a loss. I took a massive loss on Trump doing a commencement speech at Alabama because I looked at the past commencement speeches, I saw the context, I saw the transcripts, and I believed, oh, he's going to be presidential here, and like we're going to get like he's not going to dump on Biden, and like he's not going to like. I was wrong. The dude went on and went full rally mode, and like I realized like second term Trump just doesn't give a shit. Like this guy, he just says what he wants, right? And
That's
like
it.
so I factored that into like previous or future markets that I've traded, and it's helped save me, from some
Yeah.
bad plays, because intuition and context would lead you in one direction where, kind of my lessons of watching this guy over the second term have taught me some lessons.
And I think that's like part of it too, is like you're seeing these change in real time, which is like one of the toughest things. Still focused on the mention market side of things. What's like one of the weirdest or most unexpected words you've ever hit on? Like something you thought would just never hit, but you did. I know that you were playing the green dildo throwing stuff, and now it's happening.
Oh man, two of them are more like legendary ones were Trump talking about transgender mice
Okay.
when was this? This was early this year. It was right when Doge was starting, and this thing it was super cheap on Poly, man. It was like in the tens, teens, and he was doing a speech to the Republican governors, and he was giving like a breakdown of everything that they were doing at Doge. And I was like,
Yep.
dude, I heard him drop the transgender mice line a few days earlier in some kind of like, it was like a cabinet meeting or an Oval Office thing. And I was like, dude, like one of the things I've noticed about Trump is when he gets like a good crowd reaction to like a new nickname or like a new kind of like phrase, he leans into it, right? So like
He doubles down, triples down, quadruples down.
100%, dude. And so like
It's like a
transgender
comedian when they get a
mice,
laugh. They get a
yes,
laugh and they keep saying it.
exactly. He at his core, he's a performer, right? So like
Yeah.
when I saw that, I was like, dude, he's gonna fucking say transgender mice, and it hit, and it was just like a legendary trade. Another one of those was a Tampon Tim when he
Yep.
started calling him Tampon Tim on the campaign trail. I could just see it start to circulate, and I'm going, dude, this is super undervalued. It was trading at like 18 cents or something. You're like, dude, this is a clear hit, you know, and it hit. It was freaking legendary.
That's great.
Yeah, man. Trump's like the most fun mention.
It's chaos. It's pure
Yeah,
chaos. And I mean, Polymarket has 2 markets for Trump today and tomorrow that I kind of
yeah,
want to put you on the spot for. He has the
yeah.
Christmas tree lighting tonight and the FIFA World Cup draw tomorrow.
Yes.
So they have 2 markets for the World Cup draw. One is what will be said in general, so anyone speaking, and then one is specific to Trump.
Okay. Let's look at the Trump one real quick.
Yeah. Just because it's tomorrow, this will probably go out tomorrow too, which is why I want to try to maybe even tonight. I'm not sure yet. We'll probably not have it out in time for the Christmas tree lighting. I have no after the Thanksgiving situation. I don't want to touch the Christmas tree lighting. I'm like, this dude could go off and say who knows what.
Yeah, I mean, like tariff and border should be no's, right? Like Olympics is highly correlated to
Yep.
FIFA. He loves to say, "I got the World Cup, I got America 250, and I got the Olympics." That's like the standard line. So like I'm really liking Olympics. I actually because like the odds were pretty good. I got a fairly good amount of Olympics yes shares on the Trump Weekly in Call
Nice.
Sheet because there's a pretty good price there on like the 20s or 30s range or something like that. So I would take a look at that if you're you want to trade because your outcome is going to be exactly the same. Like this is another one of those ones where you're like Biden shouldn't hit, but it probably will.
He's
like
probably going to say it.
It's just
the madman is. You're at the ESPN talking about the FIFA World Cup, and he's probably going to say it. And it's a single instance of him saying it. The thing here that I'm curious is like for an event like this, because this FIFA World Cup situation, the draw, it's mostly about analyzing games and stuff like that. So do you look into like roughly how long Trump may be on stage for talking? Because I don't anticipate him being on for the whole segment at all.
I agree. It should be like overall very short. So like some of these strikes like a gasoline or like woke are like they're kind of just like what I would call garbage strikes, like junk strikes. Like they're probably going to be no's. Like maybe you can bid them and see if you get any bites, but like don't chase things. Don't start. Oh, dude, this is a lock. I'm going to buy it at 95. That's when you get fucked.
Bad value.
Yeah, don't
Bad
do that.
value.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, like I would lean really no heavy here. Like there's a couple yeses that are kind of like they're kind of attractive with like Olympics and
I almost like the million, billion, trillion 7+ times no.
Yeah, that's not a bad no play. Like where is he gonna say million, billion, trillion here? Like maybe he's gonna talk about like, oh, there's millions of dollars of investment or millions of dollars of people
it'll
or
generate
whatever.
millions of dollars of revenue for each city. But I don't see it 7 times, even if he's on for call it 20 to 30 minutes. That's once every 3 to 4 minutes.
I agree with you. It's an interesting no bid here. Dude, somebody filled no at 30 cents. Oh my God. It's
so someone got a great entry on that.
Yeah, that's crazy, dude. Somebody got a 3-cent fill on that. That's just like you got blessed by God right there.
That's great value. And that's the thing I'm always curious about what you look at is like for mention markets, are you mostly buying with bids or do you go a lot on market ask?
Yeah, I'm bid almost everything. I very rarely. The only time I'll market buy is if like something is very clearly like undervalued and I don't want somebody else to figure that out before me. So then I'm gonna market buy and just take the liquidity available. But generally speaking, you can get filled on bids. That's the way to do it. I really don't do these things until 24 hours before. And the reason why is because
we're almost exactly 24 hours before right now.
Yeah, exactly. Like this is the time I would be looking to start like bidding these. But one is because the news cycle changes so fast in 2025. What's news today is not news tomorrow.
He could also have something come up where he can't attend.
Exactly.
Like that's a very real possibility. Say they go boots on the ground in Venezuela.
Yep.
That could move him away from the FIFA draw, which is not a tonight he'll absolutely be at the Christmas tree lighting. That's a good guaranteed will attend, will be streamed. The World Cup, theoretically, there's a percentage chance he's not able to attend.
Yep, 100%. And that's where like yeses, I always find 100 times sweatier than a no, because like if anything goes wrong, I'm just instantly cooked on the bet. Like there's more conditions that have to happen in order for the yes to hit than for no, right? So it's like yeses, you have to be like very, very, very confident to take a yes. Like the value has to look really good. And then like no's, they're just again, there's like built-in protection to it. So that's why I don't bid anything before a day before. Most of my bids are the day of, like the morning of, and I'm looking at like what the press pool is saying, like some big alpha here. Like look at fourth.news, right? That's where you get the White House press pool, and you can see the updates from reporters throughout the day, and they're telling you what's going on at the White House. They're telling you like, oh, the president's 2 hours late today, or like, oh, he did this, and like, you know, he just took off and went golfing, like all those things that are important, you know, like
yeah, they're factors.
Keep an eye out on that stuff, because it matters. Right?
News. I haven't used that, so that's alpha right there in itself.
Yeah.
So I want to keep these like right around 20, 30 minutes at most. So we're kind of coming up close on time. I guess the last couple of questions here would be for someone new who wants to get into prediction markets and even mention markets. What's the best piece of advice that you could give them? And what's one of the worst things you've seen new traders do?
Yeah. So the worst thing I see news trader or people do in general is just they see a news event and then they immediately go and top blast the market, like after the market's already reacted to the news event. So like, you know, let's say, you know, this Fed announcement of the new Fed chair, right? Like people heard Trump say, oh, he's not gonna announce this until next year. People rushed to buy. Some of the people who rushed to buy bought that at like 95, 96 cents on the yes, right? But then like people kind of digest the news event, and then they understand like, well, it's Trump. Like, is he really gonna wait? You know, if he basically has the guy decided, and like 4 weeks is a long time. And so the price then comes back down and stabilizes, right? So all those people who top blasted at, you know, 90 are already down like 20% on the trade, right? So just like, if you're not literally one of the first people to be clicking that, which you're probably not, don't like just rush in to chase a buy, right? Like digest the news event, wait for things to settle, then make decisions. If you're just getting started in dimensions, like I would highly recommend just checking out like some of these Trump events, checking out some of the culture markets that are out there. You can really easily, you know, do a little bit of research, get an idea of, you know, what he said at these past events, think about, you know, the current events of today, and make some trades. Culture, I think in particular, is like super inefficient. So like Dancing with the Stars markets, right? Or like Survivor Winner, or, you know, shit like that. I've been joking around about like my wifey alpha, dude, because my wife is my quant on culture markets, and she has a 100% hit rate. The only time I lost money is when I faked, right? And like, if that's not proof that you can have an edge as a newcomer to like a prediction market, I don't know what is, right? So like, I think those are really interesting for newcomers, man. And yeah, you know, mentions, just understand the rule set, understand the speaker, and understand current events.
No, I like that. And I think that's some of the best feedback you can possibly have. It's also just like step in the arena. Like you're gonna find stuff that you enjoy more than others. And I think that's the biggest edge of prediction markets is there's a market for everybody.
Yes.
Every single person. And I think that inherently is like how you can find your edge and figure out where to go with stuff. But also understand like no one's 100%. You're not going to win everything. It's like trading in general. It's like any market. There's situations where you are going to lose. And if you're betting 100%, you just have information that someone else doesn't. Plain and simple. Like
100%. If anybody's telling you they have a 100% win rate, they're fucking lying to you. And if they're telling you like, oh, dude, I don't take L's, this dude, you're being gaslit. Everybody takes 100%. L's. It's part of the game, dude. If it wasn't, like, I would be like, damn, is this guy Jesus? Like, what's what is this? You know? So yeah, man, just be realistic with yourself, and kind of what we touched on earlier in the call, right? Like sometimes you gotta like lose a bit to learn how to win. You know, like one of my 100%. First trades on Polymarket ever was an L. You know, I was convinced Josh Shapiro was going to be the vice presidential pick in the election. And I was like ignoring all of the signals that were telling me no, it wasn't. And I just kept doubling down, dude. I just kept buying more. I'm like, no, dude, this is the right choice. And instead of like accepting all of the inputs I was getting and like reconsidering my thesis and being like, oh man, maybe like there's a lot of signals here that smart people are telling me don't make sense. I just kept going and plowing in, right? But like I learned a
Yep.
lot from that lesson. And yeah, we all got to go through those, dude.
No, I think that's honestly some of the best feedback we could have possibly had on it. I think that's where part of this goes. It's like, to your point, seeing some of these situations arise and realizing what that edge could be and where you should be looking and how you should be allocating your time. And there's always someone out there with more of an edge. Like
Yeah.
the thing I've learned quickly with prediction markets is no matter how good your research is, there's still opportunity for it to be incorrect. Like
Yeah.
very much so.
100%. Variance is real, man. Like don't
Oh,
be
absolutely.
don't be fooled by it.
Absolutely. Was there anything closing comments, anything you want to leave the audience with? Being number one on the mentioned market cycle right now is a very impressive feat. And I think that alone shows that there's an edge to it.
Yeah, cheers, man. No, not really, man. Thanks for having me on the show. If you guys want to check out any of the analytics stuff that Kix and I have been working on, check us out at predictshark.io. We've got a cool analytics product where we have better charting for all of these markets, and we also have like a parlay product where you can go in there and bet on all kinds, anything under the sun on Polymarket, right? So you could, bet on the Dallas game tonight, paired with like, a crypto launch market, paired with, an election.
Will Trump say Christmas during the Christmas tree lighting ceremony?
Yeah, just the widest range of things you could possibly imagine. So yeah, man, check us out over there. But this was a blast, man. I really enjoyed talking to you.
I appreciate you. We'll have you on again.
Absolutely.
I'm not going to be surprised when you're still number one mentioned market trader. So we'll be reintroducing that. I appreciate you, Tyrael, and thank you all for tuning in to the first interview. Expect many more of these. We'll have to give them short and sweet. Get all the good stuff out there, present it to you. Give Tyrael a follow. Give Predict Shark a follow. Go check it out. And I appreciate you guys, as always, for rocking with us.